An intimate abstract painting workshop exploring the use of non-traditional tools for amateurs took place in Hanoi on June 10, 2017. Participants were guided by Maider Gill, a Filipino-Canadian self-taught artist who has been living and working in Hanoi since 2015. The workshop was focused on describing the inescapable, ever-changing and chaotic movement of life. No rules were applied, allowing participants to freely express their imagination and feelings in a spontaneous set of music.
Thì buổi hôm nay thì em được vẽ tranh, tô tranh một cách hoàn toàn khác so với những gì mà em đã từng làm trước đây. Trước đây thì em vẽ, sau đấy là em phải tô theo một khuôn khổ nào đấy. Ở đây thì chị Mai Đà có hướng dẫn mình cách là mình sẽ chọn màu và phối màu một cách tự do này, và làm cho bức tranh nó sinh động, trừu tượng hơn. Khi mà nhìn thấy bức tranh mọi người có thể nghĩ ra được nhiều thứ, nó không phải là một sự vật cụ thể nào cả. Thì em thấy rất là hay. Thì em nghĩ là có thể sau này em sẽ vẽ nhiều tranh trừu tượng hơn nữa. Với những cái kỹ thuật như này, mình có thể sáng tạo, mình có thể vận dụng bất kỳ một loại dụng cụ gì để tạo ra những cái mẫu mới.
Những buổi như này em thấy ấn tượng hơn là những buổi vẽ tranh mà mình đã biết trước được bức tranh mình sẽ vẽ. Những buổi như này mình sẽ không biết trước được mình sẽ làm những gì. Em thấy rất là thú vị. Nó làm em mở mang đầu óc, em cảm thấy mình được giải tỏa đầu óc và kiểu tinh thần. Em sẽ cảm thấy thoải mái và sẽ làm được tốt hơn. Tốt hơn là những gì em nghĩ là em có thể làm được.
Maider Gill has been leading similar workshops to support and empower vulnerable groups of people in Hanoi. They include children affected by HIV and female victims of human trafficking and domestic violence. Her hope is to one day be certified in art therapy, so she can use her own experience with painting to help those in need. Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam. In our program today, we'll have a conversation with Maider Gill, a self-taught Canadian painting artist. She will share with us her sources of inspiration in Hanoi and her work to support the victims of human trafficking and domestic abuse here. So hello Maider, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Could you tell us about the reasons for you to come and live in Hanoi?
I actually lived in Korea before this. So after I graduated university, I moved to Korea and taught English there for 3 years. And then I was researching about where to go next to teach English, and a lot of my friends from Korea actually moved to Saigon or Hanoi. And so from my research, I saw that Hanoi was a city that was very much about creativity and art and music, and also that there was a little bit more nature here, more lakes, and more closer to the traditional way of living in Vietnam. And so that's what I wanted to experience. Found that it was a better fit for who I am. And so I took the leap and I came here in 2015, and I've been here since because I love it a lot.
How did you get into the art of painting?
So that started in 2014. I was in Korea at the time, and I've never taken an art class. I never did art at all growing up. The only form I did was with music. I sang or played an instrument, and for some reason, at one point in my life, in that year, I really felt like I needed to release some sort of emotions that I was going through, and it just popped in my head to just take some canvas, go to the art store, get a canvas, get some paint, and then throw it on the canvas. I didn't know any techniques, so that's all I needed to do. I used my hands first. I used cardboard. I didn't use paintbrushes. I just took the paint and started throwing it, and then I realized that it was a great form of release for me, and it helped me deal with all the emotions and everything that happens in life a lot, and I enjoyed it so much I kept doing it. So.
What are your sources of inspiration here in Hanoi?
So in Hanoi, there's a great expat community here, and I find it's a very special community which encourages creativity, encourages you to expand your skill sets and to do things you've never done before. Everyone I've been surrounded by in the past year is really good at some sort of form of art, whether that's building structures, or if it's painting or drawing or making events to bring people together. I find that the creativity is supported here, and with that I was just inspired even more to continue on with my art and not be discouraged to not do it. And people are not judgmental here. When you do things that you create, they encourage it, and so that's why I keep doing it. And I'm so thankful that I'm here, because I think if I didn't find this community, I wouldn't be where I am today with my painting.
How have your painting activities developed so far?
So, I mean, it just started with me on my roof by myself in my room painting, and now it's developed into more performance. I was asked at the beginning of this year to live paint. So that means when there's like an event going on, I stand next to the music in a corner and I start paint. I start from the beginning to finish of the event, and by the end of the event, my paintings are usually going up for auction, so people can auction it off if they want to buy it. If not, I'll keep it, and that's what I do here. I've also been commissioned to do pieces for people in Hanoi and also abroad. I have some friends abroad who have asked for some paintings to be done, and so I'm in the process of learning how to ship my paintings internationally. But since 2014, it's been a great experience. It's expanded a lot.
Hagar Vietnam is a non-governmental organization which has been providing free support for hundreds of female victims of human trafficking and domestic violence. The organization delivers a holistic program including safe shelter, medical care, psychological counseling, and vocational assistance. Hagar Vietnam has worked with Maida Gill to organize painting workshops for the clients, helping them recover from psychological traumas and reintegrate into their communities. The clients are expected to have better awareness of their values, emotional ability, and confidence in life.
Như tất cả chúng ta đã biết thì cái trải nghiệm bị mua bán hoặc là bị bạo lực thì là một cái trải nghiệm rất là tồi tệ đối với bất kỳ cá nhân nào. Và để khống chế, điều khiển, khai thác, bóc lột nạn nhân thì cái kẻ xâm hại, kẻ bạo lực thì có thể dùng rất là nhiều thủ đoạn khác nhau, có thể là lừa gạt, đánh đập, gây tổn thương rất là nghiêm trọng về thể chất và tinh thần. Do đó tất cả những cái cá nhân mà trải qua những cái sự kiện mà bị mua bán hay là bị bạo lực thì hầu hết đều có những cái tổn thương tâm lý rất là nghiêm trọng và lâu dài. Cái tổn thương này thì ảnh hưởng đến mọi mặt trong đời sống của họ. Có một số cái phương pháp mà chúng tôi cũng kết hợp sử dụng, đấy là cái phương pháp thân chủ trọng tâm và trị liệu nghệ thuật, những cái biện pháp chánh niệm để giúp cho thân chủ tập trung vào cái suy nghĩ, cảm xúc và kết nối cơ thể và tâm trí của mình. Rất là nhiều những cái hoạt động bổ trợ khác liên quan đến múa, vẽ, âm nhạc hay là những cái hoạt động thủ công giúp cho thân chủ hàn gắn, phục hồi từ những tổn thương tâm lý. Và đây là một cái quá trình là khá là lâu dài, có thể là vài tháng và thậm chí là cả năm hoặc là hơn.
How did you started working to support the female victims of human trafficking and domestic abuse here?
It's always been a desire of mine to help this group of people specifically, so women who have been victims of sex trafficking and domestic violence. When I was 14, my aunt was a missionary in Cambodia, and she was working with these women, and she came back home and told me stories, and since then I've always had this desire to go to places in Southeast Asia, India, to support and give my support however I could. But there was a block. I couldn't stay at this country for a year. I was always traveling. So with volunteering in a shelter like this, your commitment is very important. And so now that I am settled in Hanoi, I can be committed to these women. And a friend of mine was actually teaching them yoga every week, volunteering, and she gave my name to one of the ladies there, and they contacted me, and after a few meetings, we decided that we were going to help these women through painting, and it's been a great experience so far.
How do you describe the positive impacts of the painting on the women's mental well-being?
I find that they love to just get dirty, and there's no rules for them. They are free to express themselves however they want. They can just take the paint. There is no rule for me to say paint this way. I just say, here are your materials. You have a choice. You can do it however you want. And they are laughing all the time when we are doing the painting, and I think it's really encouraged them to show them that they have the ability to create some beautiful pieces. They have the ability to show what they're feeling inside, or even to bring up emotions that they might have numbed because of the trauma that they've been through. They again are being introduced to these emotions, and they can express that through art. And I think it's a beautiful thing that they're able to do.
What are your impressions of their pictures?
Every time they paint, it's very consistent. Every woman will paint in her own style every time, and my impression is that they are taking what I am guiding them to, but they are also having their own agency. And my impressions of their paintings are, I'm impressed with their ability to do the things that they do with these paintings. I think one of the girls at the center, she's very talented. She cannot hear, so she's only mimicking me when I'm painting, and so through that she copies me when I'm painting, but then she adds her own, so she's able to just think for herself and all that. So I think it's great.
Could you share with us some touching moments for you while working with the victims?
I've actually spoken to one of the social workers there regarding one of the women that lives at the shelter. They had a workshop a series where they were learning how to make self-portraits, and one of the woman that was there refused to paint. She didn't want to paint at all. She refused to draw herself or anything like that. But now that she's been at the shelter for longer, she's progressed, and her journey to healing has been happening. And now that they see that when I come into the painting session, she's actually painting and she's confident in it, whereas before she was really, really shy and she refused to do it. But now she will take the paint, and it's beautiful, the things that she makes. And so that shows us progress in their journey of healing their wounds themselves.
And finally, what is your plan to further develop your painting activities here in Hanoi?
Yeah, so today I did my official workshop that I want to build into something bigger. It's called Extraction Through Abstraction. And I want to bring abstract art to the community, open to everyone, to send out the message that we are all capable of creating. Doesn't matter if you think that you cannot do anything, you can, because I have no background in art, and I just followed what came naturally. And so my next steps is to bring this out to the community, and hopefully they benefit from it as well. And just continue to paint for fun and see where that takes me.
Well, Maida, once again, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing valuable stories.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, that's all for our Sharing Vietnam today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again next time.